Well, here we are. I'm Tom Osman, and this is Whatever Comes Next, the podcast where I explore the world of underground and independent music making. And on today's episode, I am talking with 4/5 of Californian punk band Strawberry Fuzz, who last month released their latest record, Miller's Garage. And what a cool trip to be able to talk to these guys. I had the only member of the band that I didn't have on the call was Kris Miller. So, in fact, where the name of the latest album comes from. Apparently, he was out the night before. So, there you go. But it was great to have the rest of the guys. As you will perhaps see, I think I do mention it in the interview. I can't remember exactly why, but I was quite sleep deprived. So, I was a little bit all over the place. And it's a little bit difficult to coordinate four people in an interview online all at the same time. But I got some really cool insight out of the guys. They're a lot of fun. And I really like the album, so it was cool to talk about that. The lyrics are really funny, the music's really tight, the performances are all great, and they get into talking about their experiences with live shows, some really funny anecdotes and misadventures and all kinds of wild tales, and yeah, a lot of other things as well about the band and about their experiences with music and their feelings about social media, about merch. It was all very illuminating and fun, and I hope that you will enjoy it. The band does not currently have any music for sale. You can listen to all their music on the streaming services. They are going to have a vinyl version of Miller's Garage coming out. I don't know if there's a date for that yet, but that's going to be coming out on Licorice Pizza Records. The band's also got their own website, strawberryfuzz.com. You can find everything that you would need to find there, including live dates that are coming up. And they've also got an Instagram page, which you can get to through their website. I believe if you just type in Strawberry Fuzz, you will find them on Instagram that way. And I'm going to play a track from the album. It's a very diverse album, so we do talk a bit about kind of what style the band has. And one of the things I mentioned was that thinking about the album as a whole, I think you can call it punk, but it's punk in the way that if you listen to The Damned and you think about The Damned throughout their career, they started out in a way that I think a lot of people think of punk as being this sort of like frenetic, energized, three-chord, hyper rock and roll style. But there's a lot of variety over the course of the band's catalog and over the course of Miller's Garage. So the track that I'm going to play, which of course I've now forgotten the name of at this moment, is one of their more kind of brooding gothy tracks. But if you listen to the album, basically from the first track, Way Too Fast, you go like, whoa, this is completely different. So I think it's a really cool track. I mean, that's why I chose it, because it's one of my favorites. But definitely check out the record if you haven't heard it already. It's got really cool variety. It's funny. It's it's really, really cool stuff. And I think these guys are going to go places. So yeah, you can follow me at Tom Osman Sounds. You can go to my website, tomosmansounds.com, to check out my music and other such writings. And that's it. So, without further ado, Strawberry Fuzz, take it away. So getting straight into your latest album, Miller's Garage, I think the moment that I realized that I was going to have a good time on the album was actually on the first track in Way Too Fast, where Colby, where you sing bullets, guns, tits, gambling. I think that was the moment that I was like, this is for me. And it turned out that it was. So thank you.
One of us.
So maybe a bit of a boring question to start off with, but as the album's called Miller's Garage, who is Miller?
So that's our guitarist, and the album covers his actual backyard where the garage is, and he lives in that garage, and that's where we wrote a bunch of the album. It's kind of like the Fuzz after hours when all the bars close down. Pretty much everyone just goes to his garage, and he's got a piano in there, a bunch of guitars, pretty much all of like Venice crams in there from like 2 a.m. to 6 a.m.
which I'm imagining happened last night, and that's why he's not here right now.
Yeah, he should be here, but I think they went out.
Yeah, I guess, I should have realized when I looked at the names of the band members, and I should have twigged that it's Kris Miller and then gone like, that's probably going to be connected to him, but I was not sharp enough.
Yeah.
And so like continuing talking about sort of like themes of the album. So Miller's Garage is kind of like, it's a world of drugs and drinking and excess and fights and house parties, after parties, going to the beach, meaningless sex, sleeping rough, getting bottled. How much of this world is your world?
I guess 50-50. It's the world we live in and definitely our surroundings. Like Venice is just such a weird mixing pot of like, artists, hippies, crackheads, really rich people, really poor people. It's kind of like the full spectrum. And I feel like it's been that way since like 70s. But yeah, there's a lot of truth in it. I don't want to say too much, but
Yeah. No, that's so cool. You can, a bit of artistic license is of course totally allowed.
Right. Yeah. We talk about stories from a first person. A lot of them are ours. A lot of them are the people in our neighborhood.
Yeah, that makes sense. So like, I guess for me, like if I think of Venice, yeah, like I think of the bodybuilders. I guess I think of like, punk bands playing sort of like outside shows. So like, are you all local effectively? Like you all kind of have the same background?
I mean, we all met in Venice and the band formed in Venice. But
And the four of us are all from Southern California, so
We're all
except
pretty
for
much
Miller, who's from Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah. 5 of us are from all different areas of LA. And then Kris is from Seattle. But he moved down here. Fuck, I don't even know when, but we all met during COVID because we all lived around Venice. And it was kind of like when all the bars shut down, everybody turned to house parties. And so that's how we all met, was just kind of bouncing around Venice. And yeah, so that's we're all just, we all met here. So not Venice born and raised, but
Yeah.
it's pretty cool how the community's like became down with us and kind of let us in with open arms because it's, Venice is a pretty rough and tough neighborhood with a lot of history, and we just want to pay our homage to it.
And so being a rough and tough neighborhood, which one of the band is the roughest and the toughest?
Miller.
Yeah, right, Kris.
Yeah, Miller.
Miller. He's scary.
The one that's not here right now.
So another like little incidental comment. There's a lot of cursing in your songs. What do your mothers think about that?
Yeah, I think they've accepted it.
They're cool with it. I mean, they're
They
cool
love
with it.
the
They know
fuzz.
who we are. Yeah.
They come to our shows.
Oh, that's nice.
Colby's mom loved me.
Yeah, my mom loves Andy.
My mom
It's like,
loves- my mom-
Andy's drumming is just so good. I'm like, Mom, chill.
I'm like, tell me more, Jenny. Tell me more.
Back off, Andy.
Okay, I'm gonna just because you start talking about your mums, well, I guess I start talking about your mums. I'm gonna ask a question I may regret, but which one of the band has the hottest mum?
Colby.
Yeah.
There's hot mamas. There's hot mamas around.
Kris. Right, Kris.
Miller's mom.
Yeah, you can just say Kris for everything. That's
Dana.
going to be like the
Bad.
safest option.
Yeah. We support MILFs.
Nice, that's good. I don't know. I was going to say something, but I was like, I'm too fucked up on sleep deprivation. So something I was thinking, listening to your music. So there's a really like kind of weird reference point. I remember reading a review of a John Travolta movie years ago. I can't remember which the movie was, but in the review, it basically said that John Travolta isn't clever enough to play a really stupid person. And I was thinking, like, in contrast to that, I feel like with you guys, you must be pretty sharp because I think you have to have a lot of skill to convincingly deliver lines like, and I pack my bag with warm beer and head on down to the beach and make it hilarious. Because there's so much in the album that's like on the surface, like if you just read it, you might go like, this is really stupid, but it feels like it's actually really smart. So I don't know if there's really a question in there, but I do appreciate that, the kind of like
Well,
the
I
hidden
think
subtlety.
I think speaking your truth. I mean, that's I think that would actually happen.
And we like, one big thing for us is to never make it sound corny or forced. And so we'll like say things or like, freestyle some lyrics while we're writing, and it'll just be like, nah, that's corny, man. Like, we don't say that shit, or like, we don't fucking do that. Why would we say that? So we pretty much want every little story or like, thing we say to actually be something that happened or something that is around us. So it's like as ridiculous and over the top as the album may seem, it's like that shit's all true as fuck. Like it's all happening or we've done it.
I'd also hop in and say, like, I always feel like the best singers, and I don't mean to compliment Colby, but the singers where you can just believe what they're saying. Some people just have it, and some people don't. And I feel like Colby's got that kind of down. At least the stupid lines, So.
No, that does make a lot of sense, because I think that's kind of like part of the charm of the band is that it does sound authentic. It kind of sounds like it's tongue in cheek, but it doesn't sound like you're really obviously like, doing a big pastiche or a big satire. It just kind of like, it runs a nice line through all of that.
Yeah. And there's like also like with that, we're not like, I haven't rearranged someone's face with a tire iron, but it's like, it's a thought we all have when you're pissed off at someone at a party. So there's those little bits. And then I think the production, like Alex mixed the album with our buddy Keith. And I think Alex did a great job of like mixing in all of our weird inside jokes from iPhone recordings, like all those kind of other voices you hear, like all actual like recordings that we have just from like parties and stuff that like we all sent to Alex, and then he like mixed them into the record. So it is like very much the sound of what's around us.
Yeah, that's very cool. Alex, have you always produced all? I mean, I know you've had like, I think you had the Fuzz tapes in 2021 and then Strong's Doctor. Is that really what it's called? Strong's Doctor?
Strong's Drive. So they're named after, it's so funny because we should have just written out Drive after like how I think about it in hindsight, because Strong's Drive was our other buddy's house that we used to hang out with before the garage. So like, I don't know if we'll continue with that theme, but yeah, it's our go-to if we don't have an album name. It's like, where have we been hanging out the most?
Okay, I feel like such an idiot now, but when I saw that, I was like,
we get that all the time. So many people say that, and I'm like, fuck.
It's really us who are the idiots on that one. I think you get the pass.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, that's good. Yeah, so like I wanted to ask you about genre. So it's like, I write about music, I interview people, and I feel like genre tags a lot of the time are quite limiting and they're quite annoying, but I understand that they serve a purpose. Usually they hopefully serve a purpose. And I was wondering, first off, are you happy with being called a punk band? Do you consider yourself to be a punk band?
Not entirely.
It doesn't bother us. Like our live shows come across much more punk because there's just a shitload of energy, and people will be like moshing to like our slow songs and like, but I think that's where kind of the punk thing came from, is definitely from when you see us live. It's a whole different energy. People are like throwing beers and shit and like stage diving, but I think musically we're all over the place and like I don't know. Yeah, Alex, what are you gonna say?
I'd say like that's probably the strongest of all the genres we partake in. But like if you heard the album, I don't think anyone would jump out and be like, oh, I love this punk band.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
I was laughing today because like one of our songs, Look My Way, is kind of like starting to have a little moment on Spotify. Like the numbers are going up, and I was thinking like, damn, like all these people are going to discover our band and think we're this like indie band if they only listen to that one single. But then if you like dive into the album or come to our show, and you're going to be like, what the fuck is this? Like they're not that kind of band. But it's cool that I think we can have all the multitudes of like different genres. But at the end of the day, like if you gotta classify us, like I just like to say we're a rock band.
Yeah.
We're rock and roll.
Yeah. I mean, what I was thinking is like, no disrespect to Green Day, but I think I've now dissed them incidentally, like in 2 different interviews. But, I feel like with a band like that, and I just picked them because now the names kind of come to me, they take like a very narrow, like punk moment. And they're like, for better or worse, they're like, this is the thing that we like, and they do that. But it's like, I think if you take a band like The Damned, for example, it's like a classic punk band, but they've got so much variety in what they've done over the years. And I was like thinking on the album, like tracks like Bad Dreams and Found Me Dead, when I listen to those are more kind of like moody post-punk songs, but they're also kind of the sort of things that The Damned could have done on some of their like kind of mid-80s albums. So like when I suggest the idea of you being punk, I mean it more in that kind of like the way that punk actually could be a whole variety of different things, rather than this very like narrow sense that a lot of people seem to go in for, of kind of like it's just this one color that they want punk to be.
No, I think if you were to call it the punk band, it'd be like an attitude, more so than a guitar sound.
I was just gonna say that Amlin the Sniffer just had a good line where she's like, punk isn't a genre, it's an attitude. And it's like, it's very true, especially in this day and age. It's like, when punk did come out, yeah, it was that fucking 3-chord sludging and just screaming, but it's like, how many fucking songs can you do like that? It's like, that was a moment, and if you wanted to fucking keep being like, an evolution of that, shit's got to change, and like other genres got to come in, but it can still have a punk attitude. And I think, yeah, to your point, like we carry that through with our messaging and like lyrics and the stories we want to tell. It's a very fuck you attitude. And back to the cursing, it's like, sometimes I'll listen back and like, Jesus Christ, dude, how's anyone going to market us? Like, it's fuck you and fuck this every other song, man. When are we ever going to get a Taco Bell commercial if I keep saying fuck you to everybody? I need some money, bro. I'm drowning out here. So if you hear this out there and you have a brand that has fuck you messaging, please hit us up.
I mean, it's got to be out there somewhere. There's got to be some, company that wants to be edgy.
Right?
Yeah. Like Red Bull or something. Come on, guys.
Yeah, there you go.
Monster Energy. I'll tat it on my forehead.
It's already kind of been referenced, but I did want to say that, I don't want to exclude anyone, because I think the performances in the band are all excellent. Like I've not just listening to the album, but like, I've watched some of the videos that you've got on the website, and I've seen some of your other performances and, playing some of the songs off your other releases. And I think you're a great tight band, and that really shines through. Like the album does sound great, to Alex's credit, in terms of the production, but the performances are great too. And it's like you, in a way, it's not like overly complicated music, but for this stuff to be effective, it has to be like delivered, with like tight playing, and also like, some flair as well. And I do think, without wanting to like butter him up too much, that Andy, your drumming in particular, does need to get a lot of credit, not just from the mums, but also from me.
Wow, thanks, man. I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
He's a killer drummer.
So how
Thanks,
did you?
Dash.
Your favorite drummer's favorite drummer.
He's a blessing as a bassist to have in the rhythm section with me.
Yeah, so maybe Dashel, just to like sort of get you involved a bit more, tell me a bit about your background in playing. Like, I presume you've been in some other bands before you were in this one.
Yeah, I was in a band before. I was the singer and guitarist in a band. The boys always joke about me being demoted in this band because I'm a bassist now, but I actually had never played bass in a band before this band, but I'd always wanted to, because I'd always fucked around with the bass and like I had a lot of fun with it. So I'm like stoked that I'm finally like, fleshing out my bass playing. So yeah.
Dash is an amazing guitarist. Like, he could play lead in any band. Like, it's insane. He fucking can shred, write songs. He has an amazing voice. He does a lot of the backup harmonies along with Alex. But yeah, it's funny that we always peg him and like, ha, you just play bass now.
And he wanted to. It was a volunteer.
Yeah, bass playing is underrated. I'm very disappointed when you can't hear bass properly in punk or rock or metal bands. I like a good bass groove.
So do we, man.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, if the drums and bass aren't locked in, everything falls apart. So
yeah. And so you already told me about the band forming, but can you tell me a bit about like kind of the scene that you came together in? So, you know, like we've mentioned Venice a little bit, but I'm pretty ignorant about it. So like when you started playing as Strawberry Fuzz together, like were there kind of like other bands, you know, sort of like a scene that you felt like you were a part of? Maybe like, I guess you still do because you haven't been going for that long together.
We played a house party. That was our first show in Venice. And I remember when like Alex offered me the gig, he was like, hey, like there's no money, but it's going to be a damn good time. I was like, okay, sick. I guess I'm in. And it really was like, it was the first show was just this, I don't know, maybe like 50 people packed into a backyard, all wearing wigs. And like, we kind of like to say that the homies are like the sixth member of the band. Cause like, it's just insane how they all show up, and the scene on the West Side has just embraced us so hard. And there's like other bands that we're homies with on the West Side, but it's like, really, it's like, I don't know. I feel like the homies and like the support of the people in the community are what carry us more than like other bands supporting each other.
100%.
I would say also another explanation is the West Side of LA just has way less bands than the East Side. The East Side, and nothing wrong with it. It's just there's so many more bands. It's harder to stick out. Mm. And so I think it was a blessing for us to just be able to have a good community of people who show up and participate, and then also us having, you know, more of a spotlight on us just by virtue of less convolution.
Yeah, like really, when we started, there wasn't a lot of bands playing, like especially a younger crowd of bands. It would be like bands at, you know, small bars, but with older dudes at a dive bar in the back corner. And it wasn't like, oh, there's like shows. And so when we started, it was kind of like everyone was showing up because it's like, fuck yeah, there's finally something to do in a backyard and like see a live band. And yeah, that's kind of where that whole thing started. Then we just started poking fun at like all the bands downtown, like east of the 405. Like 405 is a freeway that kind of divides the east and west side. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of like, we'll never go east of the 405. It's like, fuck you, go back downtown.
And when did you cross over there and start playing on that side?
I think our second show.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
As soon as we got an offer, we're like, all right,
as soon as someone wanted us to play.
And so like, and in general, like thinking about the evolution, because I know that you've been, maybe you still are, touring with the Buzzcocks, which is pretty wild. Like, how did you get from playing in backyard parties to the point of supporting the Buzzcocks?
I feel like we're like the biggest small band. We had a lot of support through Andy's old band's previous managers, and then we got a booking agent pretty early on, considering, you know, our numbers. And we've been with him for a couple of years, and he's just put us into cool spots to have our own tours and to support cool bands and other bands on their roster. So that one kind of came up. We were shocked as well. It was like, holy shit, we get to go on the road with Buzzcocks. That's fucking legendary.
And how far have you gone in terms of where you played live?
Texas Dartmouth. That's the furthest we've gone, like New Hampshire.
Yeah, we got flown out by a frat called Bonesgate to play one of their parties, and it was awesome. It was fucking, it was wild. And that was when we first started. And they like rented our gear. They let us stay there. They're super cool. Like got us a bunch of booze. And we all wore Dartmouth shirts. It was hilarious. Yeah,
and I think that one, they flew us out there, but we've never played like New York or the East Coast. This tour with Buzzcocks, we went to Dallas, I think is the furthest east. And then we started coming back to the West Coast.
Austin, but yeah.
Yeah, our main run is up the SoCal, like up to Washington, back down to California, and getting all like spots like that.
Like I get the impression with independent bands that a lot of the time that is going to be the case. It's like you'll be touring down on the West Coast or you'll be touring down on the East Coast, and there's not as much going on in the center of the US.
Everything's so fucking spread out. Takes forever.
Yeah, you have to build it out. Like, you know, we had no presence in San Diego or Seattle until we started playing it more. Now, when we go up there, we have a bunch of people show up.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So you've mentioned that, you know, that you were talking about I think it was you saying "Look My Way." Were you saying like, you know, that there were people who've probably been introduced to the band based on that song, and they might be surprised when they come and see you live that it's more of kind of like a punk vibe. So can you give me any anecdotes of like live shows? Were there any particular kind of shenanigans going on of whatever sort? Just kind of like memorable live show experiences, whether misadventures or cool shit that happened.
From our shows?
Yes, your shows.
Alex tried to fight Colby on stage one time.
Yeah.
That was classic.
He was like blacked out in Phoenix, and he put his guitar down during the middle of a song and like squared up with me. And I was like, "What are you doing, dude?" He's like, "Stop talking shit. Stop talking shit. Let's fucking go." And I was like pushing him. I was like, "Get the fuck away from me." And like all these people afterwards were like, "That was funny. Like you guys like fake fighting." I was like, "Dude, that was completely real. That guy's fucking crazy." And then like other ones, we played the Venice West a lot. It's kind of like our local hub. And we're like, we have this weird blood curse. It's like every time we play, there's like a shitload of blood gets spilled. Like the first time someone slipped and like on a glass bottle, like serrated their arm open and like fucking, then they stopped serving us glass. And then another time someone, I don't even know, like broke their nose, but there was blood everywhere. And then this last one, there's blood, but those shows are always really fun. Like, cause everyone like does shower beers. I don't know how it started. I think our buddy Matt Wilson started doing it, but
What's
you
shower beers?
Yeah.
You like take your beer and you shake it really hard while you have your fingers over the mouthpiece, and then you just let a little out and it turns into like a hose. And then people just do it constantly. So it's like, it looks like there's fucking sprinklers going off in the room. It's crazy.
It sounds like the kind of thing that once one person starts to do that, like it's just going to escalate.
Once you pop, you don't stop. And then, another time at Venice West, because we got banned for a while because it sold out, and then there was a bunch of homies that couldn't get in, so they kicked the front door like off the fucking wall, like legit kicked the door off, and then there was cops everywhere, and like, yeah, that was fucked, but it was awesome. We support it. Yeah, always good shenanigans. And then there's a lot of people that wear like clown makeup to the shows, which I fucking love. Like, it'll be like the younger generation, they're like super into like full face makeup just on like, you know, any given Saturday. So they'll be in like death metal makeup or clown makeup. And it's just like, yeah, the crowds are super diverse and sick. And everyone parties with each other. It's super cool. I feel like our crowds are very different in that sense. It's like you go to a punk show and it's just all punkers in black tees.
Yeah.
But like at our show, it'll be like girls in club dresses next to like some surfers, next to younger Gen Z kids in clown makeup, and like there'll be hardcore dudes and yeah,
it's awesome. There was a 70-year-old couple at our show dressed in suits. It was so cool. 70 years old.
There's older heads too.
Yeah, that's very cool. I appreciate that diversity. I was interested by a comment I saw from one of you in an interview where you were talking about social media and saying how you'd observed that social media following doesn't necessarily translate into actually getting people coming to shows. And I've had another band that I interviewed a while ago say something similar. So it's kind of like, it's one of these topics that come up because when I'm interviewing bands, I'm sort of, part of what I'm interested in is not just talking about the music, but also understanding kind of like the experiences within the music business, you know, things like the value of social media, the impact of streaming services, things like that. So I'm kind of wondering from all of your points of view, what do you think about social media? Like how useful is it versus being a distraction?
You actually have to build like a core, like a scene. Like you gotta like, you can't just have all these like random spread out people that maybe stream your music. Like I knew this kid and he made like bedroom pop and he has like hundreds and thousands of like streams and he makes those little videos on Instagram and he has 100,000 followers and he threw a show in LA and nobody went. Like, you know, it's not like a core hub of people in one area that fuck with you and, you know, you're making something that then turns into the party. Like ours, I feel like went really well because it was like grassroots of like, people would see the photos and be like, holy shit, like I want to go to that party. Like And that was kind of more the approach we took. It was not like, oh, we're gonna go out in the fucking on the beach and like film these little TikTok videos of our songs and be like, song of the summer. We just made it song of the summer. It's like, no, we're actually gonna have fucking parties and have fun, and then anyone's invited. But yeah, I just think that shit is so fucking corny. And so you got to play the game at some point, but it's just like super whack.
Yeah. Like for us too, it's like we only have 8,000 or so, 7,000 followers on our account, which like by any means, like if you're a record label exec looking out there, you're like, that's not much. But we've only been a band for 3 years and we don't follow anybody else except ourselves. It's only the band that we follow. So every follower that we have has been earned, and they followed us because they either saw our show or they fuck with us. And that actually translates into like ticket sales, because those are not just like a brand that we followed that followed us back or like some bullshit. It's like people that are just absolutely fucking with us for real.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like we've sold out the Venice West every time we played there. We sold out the Troubadour in like 2 years of being a band, and it's cool to like grow our foundation in our own neighborhood and backyard, and then that just kind of helps like push it. But yeah, it's funny how like 7,000 followers seems so minuscule, but like around here it's like that's a fuckload of people, and they all show up to the shows.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's growing. So, you just want to see the growth. And that's what we got going.
Yeah, we're going to be a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Damn right.
Tony Hawk probably doesn't mind about a bit of swearing.
Yeah. Well, that's why. Did you see that? We're going to be in Tony Hawk, the new game.
Are you?
Yeah. So the new Tony Hawk Pro Skater video game, they got one of our songs, East of the 405.
Awesome.
And so that's like that roster alone is like the biggest punk legends since we were all in like 4th grade. And that soundtrack is like got so many people into punk. And it's like, that's a huge honor to be in that video game. And the fact that they chose us when we're so small, it like goes to show that like the core surf and skate culture can recognize what's real and what's fake. And I think that's kind of why they went out on a whim and like gave us a shot as like kind of a new band, which is really cool.
Yeah, that is super cool. Dashel and Alex, did you have any other particular thoughts about social media, positive, negative, or otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can make it a distraction if that's all you focus on, We kind of go in and out of being really active because we're excited. I think it represents us rather than just having to play the game only. And Colby does a good job, and Kris as well, of just like, I think anything we post on there isn't just because we should, it's because we want to, or we're proud of it, or because we're actually promoting something we believe in. So I think that comes through. Ours, I feel like ours comes through a little more real than, lip syncing our song in front of a, carousel or something.
Do you see like a lot of people doing the TikTok thing? Because I'm trying to think where it was that I first noticed this. You'd see like usually 2 girls together, like in a stairwell or something, and they're doing some dance together. I didn't understand what it was all about at first. Like, what is this weird zombie thing that's going on? But is this like, is this around a lot? Like people doing TikTok dances together?
I don't think so. I feel like maybe we're coming off a bit curmudgeon-y as far as, not doing it. The dancey thing. I think that kind of might even be an old thing, honestly. Like none of the bands we know and love are really just sitting there doing that. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't like suggesting that bands were doing it. It was more just like, do you see people doing it at all?
It's the influencers out in the wild thing, which you see in LA all the time. It's like you'll be walking down the street or at the beach and you will see 2 chicks like in the wild doing a fucking dance, and it's so pathetic. But at the same time, if they want to do one to one of our songs, go for it, girls.
Yeah, that's fair. But what I was saying, it's not the actual dances, but it's those like, it seems like that's the new way to like promote a single is you choose a verse and you just make these little like 10-second videos of you singing.
The song of the summer thing, like you.
Yeah, I went overboard on that, but
no, but that's like a stupid trend that people do,
Yeah, it's just a weird way of promo.
There's a way to do it that doesn't come off corny, in my opinion. Like, even if it's like nearing the cringe factor, but like if it's done right, honestly, sometimes we're like, oh fuck, that's a cool way to play the game. You know, there are creative ways to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I guess a lot of the time there is a thin line between cool and corny.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're always riding it.
It's like surfing. Tom, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How did you find our music in Scotland?
So I found it through Katz Domino at Junkfood PR because I've been covering bands for a few years. Like I've moved around a lot. I was in Prague, then Dusseldorf in Germany, Berlin. I used to live here in Glasgow. And so I've just been like writing about different bands, writing for different publications. And just gradually over time, I've like linked up with more PRs. And I've got to the stage now that people will actually get in touch with me and say like, hey, you interested in this band? You interested in that? And she sent me your music and I thought it was super cool. So that's how I found out about it.
Great. I'm glad she's doing her job then. That's awesome.
She has definitely done her job at least once.
Good.
I can confirm that. I'm going to let you guys get away soon. I just wanted to ask you just like one practical thing and one kind of funny incidental thing. In terms of like buying your music, like I've seen that your albums are on streaming services, but you don't seem to be on Bandcamp, for example. Do you actually have like physical versions of your music or downloads that people can actually buy?
No, it's just like, does that, I don't know. Do people actually do that anymore? Do people buy music? Like we're gonna make a vinyl of the new record, but yeah, it's funny. Like some older dude at the show asked me, I was like, do you have anywhere where I can buy the music? I was like, why? It's all streaming. Like it's already for free. It's everywhere.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how many people would ask me that at the merch booth every night on tour. Like, do you guys have CDs? Do you guys have tapes? I'm like, no.
Yeah, maybe we're just too hip with the times, but yeah,
that's very interesting. I haven't interviewed a band yet that has had that take, but I'm sure you're not alone in that. But it is interesting, like, because I speak to a lot of bands that say how important merch is. So,
yeah.
And I do have various people say to me, like, I feel like we've become glorified T-shirt salesmen. So, do you sell a lot of T-shirts?
Yeah, we sell a shitload.
I see you do caps as well. What other stuff do you do at the merch table?
I'll go to like Goodwill and buy like $200 worth of like random blanks, and then we have a spray paint stencil, and I'll just like blast them with spray paint, like make 50 custom shirts, and we'll sell those for like $40 a pop.
And people buy that more than our screen printed shirts. It's crazy.
And they're all one of a kind, so it's like it's kind of special. It's fun.
That is very cool. Yeah, that bespoke way of doing things. That's nice. Yeah.
It's the most upcycled way to make merch ever. It's like we're literally going into Goodwills and cleaning them out and upcycling, dead stock clothing. It's like the most environmentally friendly way of making merch.
Yeah, I like it.
The Buzzcocks, the Buzzcocks merch girl, I can't remember her name, but she was like, holy shit. She's like, we are paying out the ass for our merch to make it eco-friendly with the most eco-friendly ink. And you guys are fucking spray painting $2 t-shirts and you're killing us in the eco-friendly space. That was pretty funny. And then what's cool is I make all the designs too. So like I make all the logos, all the t-shirt graphics. So it's like Alex produces it. We all write the music. I make all the logos and visuals. So we're like, we do it all ourselves, which is nice. We don't really have to rely on anybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. And so you mentioned about having a vinyl version of Miller's Garage. So when's that going to be, and who's that going to be coming out on?
It's going to be on Lollipop Pizza Records.
Licorice pizza.
Licorice pizza.
Good thing we didn't print that.
Nice try though, bud.
I was close. I got one of the words right.
Not sure when it's going to be out though, but not too long.
Okay.
Yeah, I just finalized the art 2 days ago. So
cool. And
but yeah, pretty stoked for that. I have a physical copy. That'll be rad.
Yeah, I like vinyl. I've seen you've got a very nice looking website as well. I'm always appreciative when bands have got their own websites, and you so I can see on your website you put, you know, tour dates, etc. So like, what have you got coming up in the coming weeks and months in terms of shows?
We're gonna finish our residency at the Venice West, so we have 2 more shows there. We have 3 throughout the summer, and each one's themed. So last week was like prom theme. Our next one's a luau, and then we're closing that with like a horror themed night, like monsters and scary shit. Couple festivals. We're going to San Diego in 2 weeks for a festival. And yeah, I think the calendar will start filling up now that the new music's out. This is kind of like the exciting part where like more shows start coming in because like things are kind of happening and generating out while the excitement's all abound. So
yeah,
stay tuned.
Exciting. Do you think you're going to go to Cleveland, Ohio?
Oh man, I hope not. But most likely, we got to go everywhere. Honestly, we got to hit the East Coast and the Midwest. So
let me explain why I asked you that question. So I don't know if you're aware, you probably aren't. There is a band called Strawberry Fuzz Club in Cleveland, Ohio, and they play like stoner rock, I guess. So I think you might have to go fight these guys.
Let's go.
their ass,
We'll take them.
they're doomed.
No, we'll jump on stage with them and friggin' jump off.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Into
you can maybe do some kind of collab, but it's just to let you know they're out there. And I don't know if they know that you're out there, but
They're stoner rock, we're amphetamine rock, so I think we'll beat their asses.
nicely put. Right. Andy, Alex, Colby, Dashel, it was super cool to chat to all of you. Thank you so much for making the time. It was my pleasure. Your music's damn cool. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys hopefully at some point on the road and seeing your next music that comes out.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, man.
We appreciate it, man.